Hello, thank you very much. Welcome to everybody for the next edition. The key is that this is the new normal, and we've heard that in the previous panel that there is nothing called as lockdown lifting. A week down into the lockdown, leaders are up and running, teams are up and running, trying to figure out, how it is that you're going to run through the lockdown. Now, a week down, past the lockdown, teams are still running, and I would like to invite Vibha to open up the conversation. Vibha has her expertise across sectors from HDFC Standard Life and investing. She's had challenges and the team's risen up to the occasion. Over to you, Vibha.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Deepak, and also thank you, Deepak Yadav, and everyone, Hari. Yes, I think what better way to spend a Saturday afternoon, huh? And I think we almost become video conference junkies now. That's the new high, I think. The way I see this and what we've been going through, and I think I also change my opinion perhaps every week. So a week down the line, I might have a different view. But at present, and with some level of introspection, I feel that when investors ask me that, what will your margins be in quarter three? And I really tell them, I don't know. If this pans out, then I will be top of the charts on this. But I really don't know when. It's not that I don't know if, but I don't know when. We will bounce back. And what does bounce back mean? What I do know that this is going to stay. And also I know that there are opportunities without all the obvious pain that all of us worldwide are going through. There are also opportunities. And this will separate out the tougher nuts versus the ones who have been there because of a rising tide. And really, it's our job to ensure that we are one of the tougher nuts and we come out even stronger out of this, and keep a watch and keep prepared for opportunities. A second point is that very quickly, I think all of us, all my colleagues on this panel, as well as wider corporate India, has done, I think, a pretty decent job in BCP. And I don't think any one of us could have been prepared for this kind of a mother of all lifetime events that we're going through, or even 3 or 4 lifetimes, because people are talking about the plague and what happened in 1918 and so on. So clearly, once more than a century. And so none of us could have been prepared for this. But I think we have done a decent job of a few things: empowering our teams that we would have created, ensuring they are agile, ensuring that they act with empathy. So that, I think, to some extent is working well. And when I have talked anecdotally to my some of the captains of industry, that's the feeling I get, and not very different in the case of HDFC Life too. So I don't want to talk too much about it because it's reasonably decent. I think Indians are resilient. We do survive. Yes, the famous jugaad is there, and we adapt. We are known for that. And so that BCP part is, I think, 31st of March, FY20 numbers, all of that is done, dusted, and we moved on. So one of our most important stakeholders, which are employees, is something that I think we have reasonable amount of clarity on how do we want to not deal with the situation, but how do we want to separate out a recessionary trend versus a little bit more empathy, because this is way beyond just recession. This is significant panic amongst people, not just about falling ill, not just because they have senior citizens at home or they have a comorbidity situation or they haven't saved enough, but also because they don't know whether job losses are going to happen. How severe is the, especially SME, MSME kind of a sector, unorganized sector and organized too. What's going to happen down the line, even when so-called corona recedes? Even then, does the pain recede? What happens to the markets, for example, and so on? So that pain is real. And so what we have done at HDFC Life is to be transparent and act very swiftly. We were the first ones, I think, at least in the financial services arena, to give a a bonus, sorry, to give an advance before I come to bonus, give an advance against salary middle of March itself, so that people can stock up, people can not at least worry about this aspect. That went down very well. We also mentioned that senior management will handle things very differently and will bear higher pain than the masses. So pay cuts in bonus will be borne by the senior management, while the masses will, at least for FY20, because we had a good year, we will not shortchange them. So that was again very clearly communicated. No increments, however. And why no increments? Because we are not paying even dividends to our shareholders. Some of it was regulator urging us to be cautious, and so all of us have to bear the pain. Again, clear communication that there are not going to be any mass layoffs, at least into the foreseeable future. So that too was behind us. And so there is this collective sense of purpose and a family wherein people then realize that, yes, I have to now do my bit too. So yesterday I had my virtual town hall with 20,000 people, and a lot of people did message to say, I understand where all of you are coming from. So that's the most important stakeholder, I think, which are our employees. Moving on to our customers. Again, immediately, the servicing needs of the customers was most prominent, paying of death claims, paying of maturity claims through digital. People could not get, for example, death certificates for obvious reasons. So we just said, okay, all you need is a discharge notice from a hospital, a registered hospital, and we will pay the claim. We'll pay 75% of the claims, and so on. So how do you reach out to customers? How do you answer all their queries? Despite your call centers going down, despite work from home, despite enabling our people through Citrix, there were still gaps in the first 15 days until we caught up, and today it's as if there was no hiccup. Reaching out to customers became extremely important through all of the digital touch points before we started focusing on new business. Now coming to new business, and we have been priding ourselves as being a digital insurer. So this was the time to really do only digital and not any face-to-face. So we trained our guns on that after 31st of March, after stabilizing the two stakeholders that I talked about. And putting to test, wherein end-to-end we are able to sell. And like I said, Indians are resilient. Now, exactly the same has happened during Demon. Might not have really moved the needle on weeding out black money, but certainly all of us, and even people in non-metros are spending more and more on digital payments. So that's the inflection point that's happening now. Wherein after the hunkering down for about a month, wherein people said, "Abhi chodo, once we are able to meet, we'll figure out." Now we are finding that people are at least agreeing to calls or Zoom calls. So that is a fairly good positive change. So we are building on that, wherein end to end. We had been working on a platform called Wise, and that just means that there could be a three-way sharing between a bank assurance relationship manager, a person from HDFC Life, and the prospect. And you can play a small video, you can do his telemedicals, you can do screen sharing and help him fill the form, everything that you can do as if he's sitting next to you. An online channel has continued to grow, which is again intuitive, and that's what we see. So we really need to help shift. And the downtime in April, we utilized in training our people on digital, training our people on selling through digital, communication skills. We have started a counseling helpline free of charge, wherein our employees in complete anonymity can seek advice on mental health, physical health, wherein all employees log in at the same time, and there is somebody who you can follow and does various things, Zumba one day, aerobics another day, and so on. So there's a community feeling. There are different teams that are pitted against each other, and there's competition and so on, so that families can come into that play. And so looking after that aspect. So new business, I think I'm reasonably, I won't say gung-ho, but I'm a big believer that the average Indian will start getting somewhat more comfortable to buy insurance. So that is as far as the customers are concerned. And in terms of shareholders, important, we have 5 lakh retail shareholders, for example, and of course all the corporate shareholders. But the retail shareholders, to reach out to them through our analyst call to say, this is the reason why right now we are not paying dividend. and we are also sharing in the pain. There will be no new hires, no increments, and so on. And there's been very little pushback on that front. So that is a third big time stakeholder. And the fourth is all our partners and vendors. So we reached out to them and we split all of them amongst the executive management team to say, you will do these and you will reach out to these, so that to empathize. It's easy to say in our call center that, from tomorrow it's a variable cost. I see business down by 43%. Sorry, but I can't pay you guys. Yes, they will sack them, but what if the green shoots around the corner? So doing this in a manner wherein it's a partnership rather than in a very tactical manner. And we do believe that these kind of dealing with empathy will mean that these relationships will be built to last. So I think that's where I would like to stop now. But it has been a journey wherein collectively we feel we are doing the right thing, and we don't feel like a deer caught in headlights.
Thank you, Vibha. I see a lot of people have logged in now. So I'm just going to quickly summarize for the people who've joined in. And as a service organization, as a people organization, I mean, what I heard from Vibha very clearly was empathy, empathy, empathy. Right across stakeholders, staff being family, look after your flock seems to be an absolute key thing that Vibha has done for her organization. Reaching out to customers digitally while physically was not possible, and the shareholders as well as partners. I think that is a huge learning from from what you all have done.